My name is Christian Basil. Years ago, I had an idea. I got myself a TARDIS. Took it to new places, met a lot of new people, took some great pictures, and talked Doctor Who. From Krypton Radio and the creators of the Hanging With web show, this is the legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Join me on my latest adventures and become part of the legend.
I don't understand. I don't. Is it on? Why do they put me in charge of the technology? I have no idea. Doctor! Oh, is it on? Is it on? Oh, I think it's on. I think it's on. Yes. Oh, they're here. Yes, all the little people are here. Yes, we were told they would be here.
Yes,
Why are they so tiny, though? I don't understand. Yes. Well, perhaps we should get started, shall we? There is Hawthorne. Well, just do it without him.
Typical.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I hear him somewhere.
Thank you.
Oh, boys and girls.
Boys and girls.
And all the diversity of spirits that have followed us down through the centuries. We are Phantasmagoria. Yes, and welcome here to our home.
Byron, where do you keep the extra bottles of wine?
You let him get hold of it.
He's going to drink me out of house and home in the cupboard, dear friend.
Thank you.
As long as he doesn't get to the champagne.
Yes, no
No,
champagne for the fun. Come in, my dear friend. We are all live here with Christian Basil.
Oh, Christian, hello.
Now it's a bar.
He brought a whole bottle. Yes, and we are
And one
here.
glass.
And one glass for himself. Yes. But we are here, of course, and I'm going to let everyone introduce themselves to you. You already know Hawthorne.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, he was pouring the wine. Yes, and
Mercury.
oh, yes, indeed.
Simmery.
Yes, and I am Byron, and we are so happy to be here with Christian and the legend of the Traveling Tardis, and we're very excited, although we're very dismayed, because right now the doctor is a little late. Yes, it's because of last year, the doctor was supposed to come. Yes.
We always play a game.
Oh, a game! Yes, what kind of game?
Oh, not this again, Marie.
No. I'm playing with you, Simmery. Oh, okay, Mercury. I thought you would.
Yes,
Hmm.
and what are you thinking of?
An animal? Hmm.
Is it a fictional animal?
No, absolutely not.
We've entered very dangerous territory now.
Is it a unicorn? Yes, how did you know?
Because you always choose a unicorn every
And
year.
you always get into the champagne every year.
That's true.
In the world of Cimmerian, unicorns are not fictional animals. And this
In
is
my
something
world, in the world itself, they're not fictional.
we're not going to go there. But we are waiting on the doctor, and she is not here. And we've been waiting for quite a long time. Now, this is typical behavior. is
You would
it
think
not?
a time traveler would be more punctual.
Time traveler. Yes, indeed. But, oh no.
What is it?
How did she get this in my jacket?
Impressive, most
The doctor,
impressive.
of course.
Phantasmagoria. Got the name right. Greetings and holiday cheer to you all. I'm quite sorry I could not make it in person yet again this year. Well, I've been quite busy saving all of time and space and all that. Well,
That's very
fair.
fair.
I hope your presents arrived in good condition and the Kablam delivery bot did not startle you. They could be a bit creepy. What presents? I thought that was Amazon. Yes. They came to the door earlier and they came inside, and I figured that was just what Amazon does. Jeff Bezos, they invade the house.
Very efficient.
Anyhow, as I wondered what to get you all this year, I realized what better gift to give a storyteller than a story to tell. I do hope you enjoy them and they fill you with the holiday spirit. Parenthetical. Get it? Spirit? Eternally yours, the Doctor.
Stories. Do you mean to tell me that the Doctor is going to have us perform at our own Christmas party?
Oh, Hawthorne, it will be fun.
Fun, yes. But the bigger problem is, where is these presents?
And my question is, a time traveler could have some wondrous gifts, perhaps untold riches from some alien civilization.
Greed. Yes.
And unicorns are
yes.
real, but aliens are... Sorry.
Greed and silliness. Silliness should be one of the 7 deadly sins.
Or ancient relics.
That's true.
Mercury, if you can please check. I think there's something underneath the couch. Yes.
No?
Yes. Presents from the Doctor herself, indeed. Let us open and see what this could be. Yes, oh yes, and quickly done, yes. I think they have Walmarts at all time zones. Yes. And, oh, this is lovely. Well, Hawthorne, since you are so uncertain about stories, perhaps we shall have you tell one first.
I suppose. Am I getting paid for this?
Yeah, the Doctor, I'm sure, will leave something for you somewhere. Yeah. Why don't you get in the center there?
Oh, yes, thank you. I suppose I am being paid in wine, correct? Let's see. Hawthorne, you have always struck me as a curious sort. Thank you. In every sense of the word. Never one to hide from a mystery. Perhaps you will be pleased to unravel, or rather unwrap, this particular one. One never knows what one may encounter in a peculiar old manor, deep in the British countryside. Oh, and I do hope you brushed up on your cribbage. Curious.
Well, this is very curious. Now, for those of you who don't know, a great Victorian tradition at Christmas time is to read ghost stories at Christmas.
It seems that the Doctor has indeed tapped into that.
Oh, thank you.
Of course.
Thank you very much. So, Hawthorne, you are a lucky boy.
A Strange Christmas Game by Miss J.H. Riddle. First published in the Broadway Annual in the year 1868.
When, through the death of a distant relative named Paul Lester, the hero of our tale, a Mr. John Lester, succeeded to the Martindale estate, there could not have been found in the length and breadth of England a happier pair than he and his only sister Claire.
His death represented to them not a dreary parting from one long loved, but the accession of lands, houses, consideration, and wealth.
Not that Martindale was much of a country estate as far as they go. It had melted into a mere little dot on the map of Bedfordshire.
Paul Lester had been the heir to a Mr. Jeremy Lester, about whom there was indeed a mystery.
No one could say quite what had become of him. He was in the oak parlor one Christmas Eve, and then before the next morning, he had disappeared. To reappear in the flesh no more. The last person to see him was a Mr. Warley, who had sat playing cards with him till just after the midnight chime.
Inquiries were set on foot concerning him. Rewards were offered, but still, Jeremy made no sign. And so, in course of time, Paul Lester took possession of the house.
However, he speedily changed his mind, let off the land surrounding the house, shut up the hall, put in a caretaker, and never troubled himself further about his ancestral seat.
Time went on, and people began to say the house was haunted. All of which stories were duly repeated for our benefit, when, 41 years after the disappearance of Jeremy Lester, my sister and I went down to inspect our inheritance.
People said that Mr. Jeremy walked at Martindale. He had been seen by poachers, by gamekeepers, and by children who had come to use the park as a shortcut to school.
The caretaker gravely shook his head when questioned about these tall tales, while the wife stated that wild horses should not draw her into the red bedroom nor the oak parlor after dark.
She claimed one could hear stamping and swearing, and then tramp, tramp up the great staircase and into the red bedroom, and then bang and tramp, tramp again.
They claimed that Mr. Paul Lester met him once
And from that time, the oak parlor had never been opened.
Upon hearing which fact, the first thing I did was to proceed directly to the oak parlor, open the shutters, and let the summer air enter upon the haunted chamber, out of which the ghost flitted as soon as daylight was let into it.
They began to put the place in order, but by the middle of November, Martindale was anything but pleasant. The walks were wet and sodden, the trees were leafless, there were no flowers.
The place looked miserable.
And the ghost stories that we had laughed at while the sunshine flooded the rooms became less and less unreal.
Servant after servant left to seek situations elsewhere, where noises grew more frequent in the house. And his sister and he both heard the tramp, tramp, and the banging.
By degrees, I came to the conclusion that the visitation must be supernatural.
He determined on Christmas Eve, the anniversary of Mr. Jeremy Lester's disappearance, to keep watch by himself in the red bed chamber.
About 10, he retired to rest. Quite in the dark, he sat in the red room. The moon rose and cast strange lights across the floor and upon the wall of the haunted chamber.
I was weary, and I dropped at last into a slumber, from which I was awakened by hearing the door softly opened by my sister.
Come downstairs. They are in the oak parlor.
He did not need any explanation as to whom she meant, but crept downstairs after her.
By the door of the oak parlor, we paused, and we looked in.
There was the room they left in darkness overnight. Now, with a bright wood fire on the hearth, candles on the chimney piece, and two men seated beside it, playing cards.
They could see the face of the younger player. It was that of he who had been while in the living flesh,
Jeremy Lester.
He was dressed in the costume of a bygone period. On his little finger there sparkled a ring, and there were diamond buckles on his shoes.
We stood in the doorway, holding our breath, terrified and yet fascinated by this scene which was being acted before us.
The ashes dropped on the hearth softly, just like the snow, and they could hear the rustle of the cribbage as they were dealt out and fell upon the table.
But there was no other word spoken until, at length, the player, whose face we could not see, exclaimed,
I win! The game is mine!
Jeremy Lester yelled out, cheat! Liar! Then all at once strode out of the room in so great a hurry that he almost touched us where we stood. Out of the room and tramp, tramp, up the staircase to the red room, descending in a few moments with a pair of rapiers under his arm. They went through the garden and down a narrow, winding walk to a smooth piece of turf sheltered by the north by a plantation of young fir trees. It was bright and moonlit by the time, and we could distinctly see Jeremy Lester measuring off the ground.
Jeremy stood there and said, when you say 3.
1, 2.
But before our kinsman had the slightest suspicion of his design, and before he counted to 3, the other was upon him, his sword piercing Jeremy Lester's heart.
In a moment, the combatants had disappeared. The moon was obscured behind a cloud, and they were standing in the shadow of the fir plantation, shivering with cold and terror.
But they knew at last what had become of the late owner of Martindale, that he had fallen, not in a fair fight, but foully murdered by a false friend.
When late on Christmas morning he awoke, it was to see a white world, to behold the ground, trees, and shrubs all laden with and covered with snow.
There was
Snow everywhere.
such snow as no person could remember having fallen for 41 years.
A fortnight after, the snow melted away, and the fir plantation came to be examined. In a little clear space just within the plantation, Jeremy Lester's body was found.
We knew it by the ring and the diamond buckles. My sister never returned to Martindale, though I assure her there are no strange noises now in the house. Jeremy Lester is at rest.
The end. Oh, bravo.
All right, I'll admit it. That was fun. Have another, but first, I think that it's time for another drink. Anyone?
Oh, yes. Well, as Hawthorne participates in his greatest hobby right now, we're going to turn this back over to Christian Basil out there in the studio in wherever that is for some commercials. Go for it, Christian. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant! It's hard to believe that in the 56-year history of the greatest sci-fi television show in the English language, there has never been a fan guide to Doctor Who. The official books might give you what they think you need to know, but only a guide written by a true fan will give you what you really want to know. Join Whovian, the brilliant Mackenzie Floor, as she takes you on an intensive journey inside the world of the first female Doctor. In the Binge Watcher's Guide to Doctor Who, Season 11. Right, let's get a shift on.
Jackie Sonnenberg's My Soul to Keep is a ghost story rooted in the realities of actual cults. When 13-year-old Sky Monroe arrives at her new boarding school, all she can think about is death and connecting with the afterlife. Soon she discovers her school's spirituality group, the Guardians of Light, and they have a secret. They can speak with the dead, and the organization is a cult. But this isn't Sky's only problem. The campus house where Sky resides is haunted, and even the ghosts have an agenda. They intend on getting the souls they want. Filled with mystery and intrigue plucked straight from the headlines, author Jackie Sonnenberg's research and attention to detail give this ghost story an even more eerie atmosphere. Find My Soul to Keep on Amazon.com today.
Hey there, this is Meredith Loughran with Ragin', and I wanted to let you know that we encourage and promote independent creators and their projects through organic interaction, consultations, and more. Visit Nita and me at RaginAVC.com for details and contact information. Hit the button.
Those were fun commercials indeed. As a matter of fact, did they not do one for Jackie Sonnenberg?
Oh, I do believe I have that as well.
We have done Jackie's stories before. Jackie Sonnenberg, if you're watching, commercial well paid for. Yes. Hawthorne has a new glass of wine.
Of course.
Yes.
Once again, no glasses
And
for
glasses
anyone
for anyone
else.
else.
This is not my house. Please buy this.
No. When has that ever stopped you?
But we have another present, and it seems that the Doctor has a name on the next one, and that is yours, dear heart.
So?
Mercury. The story has always reminded me of one of the most harrowing encounters. Along the Scottish moors, my companion and I faced a horrifying beast, a lycanthropic creature of tooth and claw. Alongside a brave young woman, a queen no less. We harnessed the power of moonlight to best the monster. With your mercurial nature, fun, foliant, and of course, you remind me both of the beast and queen. Oh, thank you. Both royal and misfit. No doubt you'll do justice to this terrifying tale.
Ooh.
Shall we?
So shall indeed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, this is a dangerous one, Mercury. Are you ready for this?
Never. A tale first published in Blackwood, Edinburgh's magazine, Horror, A True Tale, January 1861, by John Berwick Harwood. I was but 19 years of age when the incident occurred, which has thrown shadow over my life.
Her family house was an old Tudor mansion, with many peaks and gables and numerous turrets, which had remained nearly as it had been 3 centuries back.
Our mother had died when my sisters and I were young, and our kind father, being much absorbed in affairs of various kinds, left no one to check the unwholesome stream of ghostly tales the servants told.
Ghostly tales. It was Christmas. Always a joyful and hospitable time in the country, especially in such an old hall as this home. The house was so full of guests that there was great difficulty in providing sleeping accommodations for all.
At last, the unexpected arrival of an elderly relative caused great commotion. Lady Speldhurst was a personage of some consequence.
She was 70 years old, infirm, rich, and testy, moreover. She was my godmother, but there wasn't a room left. The matter ended in my giving up my room.
She had a strange reluctance in making the offer, which surprised her. Perhaps this was a boding of evil to come.
We cannot say.
The chamber to which I was to inhabit that night was a dim little room in the western wing of the home, far removed from all the others that the servants often whispered about.
A large number of guests were gathered together after dinner all around the vast antique hearth for the telling of tales. One tale led to another, story after story, always relating to demonology and witchcraft.
It
was Christmas, the season for such tales.
I listened to the ghostly tales, and fear grew upon me. Blind, irrational fear.
And then her father came in desperately. He had been informed of the loss of 4 of his choicest sheep. The poor creatures had been destroyed in so strange a manner, their carcasses horribly mangled.
Something had torn their bodies wolfishly.
Their hearts had been torn out and left at some pieces off, half gnawed, and the print of a naked human foot was found in the soft mud of the ditch, and near it what seemed a broken link of a rusted iron chain.
With this it was now late, and we retired to rest before long.
One by one, the guests dropped off.
I was the member of the family selected to escort old Lady Speldhurst to her room, where she offered to have me stay on the sofa bed in the dressing closet. How little I knew what hung in the balance of my refusal or acceptance of that trivial proffer.
She declined.
As I did so, my godmother looked round at me rapidly, with a glance I have never forgotten, half malicious, half sad.
A bright gleam came from another room, whose door was left ajar. As she approached, the door opened, and her sister Lucy came out and offered her the opportunity to stay with her.
I declined her offer, bade her good night, and went on my way laughing to show my light heart. Yet, as I looked back in the dark corridor, I felt I wished to return.
She thought in that instant that she heard a heavy sigh, but looking sharply around, realized no one was there.
As I entered the chamber, I thought I heard something stir in the neglected neighboring room, but I was determined to have no more panics.
She looked around the room, and a most unaccountable repugnance to her temporary abode came over her.
I was just about to lay my head on the pillow when the idea seized me that I should fasten the door.
There was a lock, but it was rusty or hampered. Her utmost strength could not turn the key.
She returned to bed. Soon she fell asleep. How long she slept, she never knew, but she awoke at once with an abrupt start.
I knew I felt that some person or thing was in the room. I waited, my heart beat quicker on. Then I heard a sound, faint but quite distinct, the clank of iron, the rattling of a chain.
She saw the curtains of the bed shake, and caught a glimpse of something beyond, a darker spot in the darkness.
She saw a dusty, shapeless mass appear between the curtains on the opposite side to where she was lying. Just then, the dying flames of the fire leapt up, and she saw the semblance of a human form throw itself heavily on the bed and lie there.
I tried to speak. I tried to scream wildly for help. My mouth was parched. My tongue refused to obey. I could not utter a cry. And indeed, who could have heard me?
Alone as she was in that solitary chamber.
To call aloud, to demand, who was there? Alas, how useless, how perilous.
She shuddered as she gazed on the blank darkness where she knew it lay. It stirred.
It moaned hoarsely.
She shrank away in loathing and terror of the evil thing, feeling that something malignant was near.
I glided from the bed and tried to grope with extended hands my way to the door. My heart beat high at the hope of escape.
She had scarcely taken one step before the moaning was renewed. It changed to a threatening growl that would have suited a wolf's throat, and a hand clutched at her sleeve.
I stood motionless.
She sat on the edge of the bed, shivering with cold and barefooted.
All was silent. Then, followed a chuckling that froze her very marrow, and the gnashing of teeth as if in demonic frenzy, and a wailing moan. And this was succeeded by silence.
Hours fled by, and I remained like a statue of ice, rigid and mute.
At last, the cold gray light of an early winter's day was on her face, and stealing around the room from between the heavy curtains of the window.
I turned to see the horror of the night.
There it lay, a gaunt, gigantic form, wasted to a skeleton, half-clad, foul with dust and clotted gore, its huge limbs flung over the couch as if at random, its shaggy hair streaming over the pillows like a lion's mane. Its face was turned towards her.
Round the creature's waist was a ring of iron, to which was attached a heavy but broken chain. The creature, for we cannot call it a man, had the marks of fetters on its wrists.
In an instant, the horror truth flashed upon me. I was in the grasp of a madman.
Oh, the mystery of those ensanguined fingers. That face besmeared with blackening blood. The slain sheep. The fantastic butchery, the print of the naked foot, and the broken link of which was found near the slaughtered animals. It came from his broken chain.
The chain he had snapped, doubtless, in his escape from the asylum, where his raging frenzy had been fettered and bound.
Horror! Horror!
At last, what she dreaded came to pass. A light footstep on the landing. There is a tap at the door. A pause succeeds, and then the tapping is renewed, and this time more loudly.
Then the madman stretched his limbs and uttered his moaning cry, and his eyes very slowly opened and met mine. The maid knocked a third time.
It was awake now, staring at her half vacantly, then with a crafty yet wandering look.
I saw the devil of murder begin to peep forth from those hideous eyes, the lips to part as in a sneer, and the wolfish teeth to bare themselves.
Fear gave her a new and a desperate courage to return the glare of those terrible eyes. Steady and undaunted was her gaze, motionless her attitude.
The lunatic moaned and drooped his shaggy head between the gaunt, squalid hands.
I lost not an instant. I rose and with one spring reached the door, tore it open, and rushed like the wind down the corridor.
Save me!
My youth was gone in one fell swoop.
She now showed a livid and haggard face, blanched and bloodless, as of one who had seen a spectre.
In one night, The ravages of half a century had passed over her face, the sheltered wreck made by that
One Christmas night of horror. The end. Oh, Mercury. Bravo, bravo.
That was exhilarating.
Yes. Merry Christmas.
There's nothing but a fright to get the blood pumping on a cold winter's night.
I seem to have dropped some of the presents, but there is a present in here.
Are you sure I'm not the only one drinking?
Indeed. For Lady Cimarine.
Yes,
If you wish to
Cimarine.
grab that and read. Oh, now that's charming. Let us read that.
My sweet Cimarine, last Christmas, or perhaps it was many Christmases ago, I can never quite tell, I was gifted these by a certain right jolly old elf, and now I give them to you. Perhaps you can find inspiration in them, as you do in so many other things. I might have an idea, but it does require us to move.
Oh, to the other room, perhaps.
Perhaps.
Journey with us, my friend.
Can I bring my wine?
You, of course, may bring your wine.
Well, then I'm coming.
Okay, right this way. Now, the camera may go all pixelated, but we like pixies, so that's okay. Yes, right this
Who
way.
can get the hand of this whole doctor technology? Cimarine, I know you're a bit of an expert. You should read the manual again.
Well, I offered, but somebody wants to take care of it this evening.
Oh, I see.
Okay, here we go. We are in another room here at the Phantasmagoria home.
There's lots of little children here to watch. They're a little grotesque. Just don't worry about that.
Our favorite kind.
Yes, indeed. Ah, it looks like it's going to be a dance for all of you from the Lady Cimarine.
Indeed, speaking of technology, one moment.
Oh, we're getting the music going. Ah, lovely. And I see where the inspiration came from. Brava, Lady Cimarine. Yes, and brava to the Doctor for inspiring that. Christian Basil, it is back to you for some commercials.
Meet The Doctor.
I'm the Doctor.
But not the one you were expecting.
All right, sexy. It's time to go home.
Doctor Who Velocity. Streaming now.
This is Cosplay Michael with the Hanging With Love Show. I want to tell you about my friends at Embellis Effects in Orlando, Florida. They've got makeup, costumes, and props for all of your costume needs. And the team at Embellis Effects is helpful and friendly. Embellis Effects is one of my favorite places, and I know it will be yours too. I'll see you there. Or go to embelliseffects.com. And remember, cosplay is for everyone.
Oh, we're back! We're back! Look, I can see little tiny versions of you on the screen. That is so wonderful. Yes, bravo.
Oh, it's slimming. I love it.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so, fun, you had your presents, you had your presents here. Right, we're going to see what this one is.
I hope it's a lump of coal.
Oh, that was last Christmas. Yes. Okay, we're going to see what this is now. Lovely. Byron, this performance requires a storyteller of, shall we say, unsubtle sensibilities. It's perfect for you. Is this because I made fun of your suspenders that one time? I am sure it is.
Never insult a Time Lord, my friend.
I've had my share of encounters with the unquiet dead, even on Christmas Eve. And the so-called spirit in this tale certainly fits that description. Enjoy, but please try not to devour too much of the scenery. It's bad for the digestion. We're going to talk about this the next time we visit.
I love the Doctor, can I just say?
Indeed. There we go. There we go. There we go. Well, I don't know what it is yet. Oh, brava. You are all forgiven, but we still need to talk about the suspenders. From the book, Ghost I Have Met and Some Others, by John Kendrick Bangs, part the first. Ghosts that have haunted me, a few spirit reminiscences.
It happened last Christmas in his own home.
I had provided, as a little surprise for my wife, a complete new solid silver service marked with her initials. The tree had been prepared for the children, and all had retired, save myself.
He had lingered later than the others to put the silver service under the tree, where its happy recipient would find it when she went to the tree the next morning.
Oh, it made a magnificent display, which would have made me gasp.
If he had not, in that moment, when his own breath began to catch, heard another gasp in the corner immediately behind.
Turning about quickly to see whence it came, he observed a dark figure in the pale light of the moon, which streamed in through the window.
Who are you?
I am the ghost of one long gone before.
The sepulchral tones chilled him to the bone.
No! I breathed a sigh of relief, for I had for a moment feared that it was a burglar. Oh! You gave me a start at first. I was afraid you were a material thing come to rob me.
Then turning towards the tree, he observed, with a wave of the hand,
Fine layout, huh?
Oh, beautiful, but not so beautiful as things I've seen in realms beyond your ken.
And then he set about telling me of all the beautiful gold and silverware they used in the
Elysian Fields.
Yes, the Elysian Fields. And I must confess, Monte Cristo would have had a hard time to surpass the picture of a royal magnificence that the spectre drew.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
he stood enthralled until, Even as the ghost was talking, the clock struck 3.
When this Christmas Eve spectre rose up and moved slowly across the floor, barely visible, murmured regretfully that
I must be on.
With which
I must be on.
With which
I must be on.
With which he made his way down the back stairs.
I pulled my nerves, which were getting rather strained together again, and I went to bed.
And when at last Christmas morning arrived,
every bit of that silverware was gone. And what is more, 3 weeks later, I found the ghost picture in the Rogues Gallery of Criminals in New York as that of the cleverest sneak thief in the country. Put it down. All of which, let me say to you, dear friends, in conclusion, proves that when you are dealing with ghosts, you mustn't give up all your physical resources until you have definitely ascertained that the thing by which you are confronted,
horrid or otherwise,
is indeed a ghost, and not an all too material rogue with a light step and a commodious jute bag for plunder concealed beneath the coat. The end. Well, I will love the Doctor for that, because we did need a little bit of a laugh. But there's one left. Now, that makes no sense.
We all had our gift.
We all had a gift. But Mercury, why don't you come sit center, and we will see what this present is. There you go.
My dearest Phantasmagoria, Christian Basil, and all those watching across the universe, I hope I was able to bring you all a bit of joy and merriment this evening, as you do for me whenever our paths cross. Yes.
It's no secret that our universe is in flux, and that the last few years have been some of the most difficult any of us could have ever imagined. But change is inevitable, and I must change with it. In fact, when you next meet me, I may not even at first glance be the same person you've all grown to know.
But no matter what change may come, or what should befall us, know that I will always hold you in the highest esteem. We need stories more than ever now.
With that in mind, this last story is one of my favorites this time of year. An oldie but a goodie, you could say. I give it to you, Phantasmagoria, our friends at the Legend of the Traveling Tardis. And all those watching at home, I hope it brings you all great cheer. Happy holidays and a Merry Christmas. The Doctor.
Let's see what this is. Oh. No, Tom. Yes. There you go, dear friend.
Oh. Sing that.
A visit from St. Nicholas, more commonly known as
The Night Before Christmas.
Attributed to Clement Clark Moore.
It was the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there.
The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mama, in her kerchief and I in my cap, had just settled our brains for a long winter's nap.
When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from the bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash.
The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave the luster of midday to objects below. When, what to my wandering eye should appear, but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer.
With a little old driver, so lively and quick, I knew in a moment.
It must be Saint Nick.
More rapid than eagles, his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name.
Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donder and Blitzen.
To the top of the pot, to the top of the wall.
Now dash away, Dash away! Dash away all!
As dry leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky. So up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with a sleigh full of toys, and St. Nicholas too. And then, in a twinkling, I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot.
And his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot.
A bundle of toys he had flung on his back.
And he looked like a peddler just opening his pack.
His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard of his chin was as white as the snow.
The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath.
He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly.
He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself.
A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread.
He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk.
And laying his finger side of his nose, and giving a nod up the chimney he rose.
He sprang to a sleigh, to his team gave a whistle,
and away they all flew like the down of a thistle.
But I heard him exclaim, ere he drove out of sight, Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night. Oh, bravo. Thank you, Doctor. Wherever you are, you truly were here in this home tonight. And now we do have one last surprise.
Oh.
Cimmerine, why don't you go outside and do the preparations for the surprise that's coming?
Intriguing.
And we will spend just a moment with you here while Cimmerine does the preparations for one final surprise. We want to thank Hawthorne.
Oh, thank you.
And Mercury. And Christian Basil. And everyone out there, most especially we want to thank the Doctor. We're not sure what that cryptic message was, but we do know that she will always be in our heart for years and years to come.
Absolutely.
Yes. Always.
Absolutely.
Now, we do want to announce a special surprise. We have stopped doing our online shows for the most part because we're exhausted. Yes, from doing all of our touring shows right now, but we could never say no to Christian Basil and the Legend of the Traveling Tardis. Coming up on January 16th, that is the date we finally picked. We're going to be having a very special show for a wonderful comic book artist, George Perez. For those of you who may or may not know, George recently made a very important announcement through the internet. And he is very close to us. He is what we call Phantasmagoria adjacent. We have known George for many years, but a lot of people don't know is that one of our members might just be his niece. So he is very close to us and to our hearts. So on January 16th, which is a Sunday, at our usual Sunday episode time, we're going to be doing a very special show for George Perez. And we invite all of you to join in with us on that night, most especially, and send a beautiful message to George. We've asked him to pick his favorite Poe stories for that night, so we will see.
And I have no doubt the audience of Christian Show are very familiar with the work of George Perez.
Oh, yes. And if you're not, there's this thing called the Google Goggle thingy.
Wikipedia.
Wikipedia. I like that. Yes, but before we go to our next commercial and then spend some time with Christian Basil, we're going to go outside and see what this little surprise is.
Oh, I'm excited.
Yes.
Remember, we may pixelate a little. We may pixelate.
It just means we're all naked now.
Yes, that is exactly what that means. Thank you, Hawthorne. Okay, so it's soggy out here, and it's very dark. But Cimmerine is going to be doing a special treat for us out here that we couldn't do the last time for Christian Basil. So welcome to the street. Welcome to the wet. Okay, so don't you fall with what you're about to do.
Fingers crossed and toes crossed, darling.
Toes crossed, no falling.
Mad.
Mad indeed. Oh, here we go. A little fire dancing.
It's a little warmer out here.
Yes. This is especially for you, Christian. The music, by the way, is the wonderful music of Mayu. M-Y-U-U. Oh, look this wonderful artist up. We've been dancing to his music for quite a while now. What's amazing is watching the steam come off of them.
Science.
Yes. Something much needed today, Hawthorne. Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Keith. Donna. Ramona. I love it. Thank you, Rachel. And all in the rain, because it's actually raining right now. Oh, thank you, Rafe. Yes, I said Rafe. Hello, Troy. Sophie, thank you. Ha! Ha ha! Oh, yes, Mayu. Thank you, Tom. Andrew. Oh, Mark, thank you. Oh, Hansine, Johnny Bronto, you know we love you. And Christian, I think we can fade out into some of the commercials now. We'll see you back.
You have more options than ever before when choosing a film, a television or internet series, a book to curl up with, or even a radio show or podcast. Get to know the people who are creating for you. The Hangin' With Web Show, hosted by award-winning author and journalist G.W. Pomacher, is the internet's fastest-growing web talk show series. The Hangin' With Web Show features professional, yet casual, in-depth interviews with creative arts and entertainment pros. Meet the people behind a digital revolution in creating more quality content than ever before in the history of media. Find the Hangin' With Web Show on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, or simply go to www.hanginwithshow.com. That's www.hanginwithshow.com.
Famous Faces and Funnies in Melbourne, Florida is leading the way in pop culture fun. From comic books and graphic novels to Funko Pops and collector's items, Famous Faces and Funnies has it all. Rick Shea and the professional team at Famous Faces and Funnies are friendly and knowledgeable. Whether you're looking for toys, props, collector treasures, or a new comic book, Famous Faces and Funnies is your one-stop shop. To find Famous Faces and Funnies on Facebook and Twitter, just type at FFF Comics.
The massive audio Doctor Who Bad Wolf Bluetooth TARDIS speaker. That's all I gotta say, one word. Wow. It looks like it just jumped right off the screen. Here it is in all its Bad Wolf glory. Right here is the on-off switch and the up and down volume. Right here's the speaker. The TARDIS stands about 6 inches from the bottom of the TARDIS all the way up to the top where the light is. Look at the detail. Wow.
I think we are back.
Oh, I don't think there's absolutely any way I'm going to be able to follow up the moment. They're just not going to happen. It is not going to happen, Lord Byron. If I go outside with fire, people will think my house is burning down and try to hose me down. That will be the scariest part of it all. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for joining us for Phantasmagoria, the Victorian troupe that you can see here in Orlando, and if I'm not mistaken, Atlanta as well. And we want to thank you all for joining us for their very special Christmas special 2021 and for many years to come. My name is Christian Basil. I've got a friend of mine who's going to be joining us, and
there they are.
Well,
yes.
Boom, there.
We couldn't see you. I was behind the
Let's do that. There we go. That's much better.
No, I was just thinking if I personally ever tried to dance like that, half the neighborhood would be on fire and the other half would look like Godzilla's last visit to Tokyo. I'm not kidding. I just do not have grace or balance.
Hell, Andrew, that's not going to happen.
I just don't have it. No.
Well, first of all, everybody, thank you for joining us. I said I would get to the comments. Not a chance. I'm sorry. There have been so many comments jumping through here. It is just, it is beyond belief, but I want to hit a few of them. Want to say hello to Sophie. She's always been on there. Tom, thank you for joining us out there. If I don't get to you, I apologize. There's been a lot of people. I want to welcome some newbies. Troy, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe at the Legend of the Traveling Tardis. And Percy, Andrew, of course, out there, Darlene and Carl. And I'm just going to run down the list. Keith, thank you for joining us there. Ramona, of course, always thank you for joining us, love. I appreciate that. Let me see. We had just like a ton of people just come on through. Rachel, that's the first time I've seen you, and welcome to the Legend of the Traveling Tardis. Haunt Scene, that's just a cool name, and I love the icon. Haunt Scene, I want to thank you so much, and everyone. Bill Warner, I apologize if I butchered that, but Bill, I saw you come in.
Get him out of here.
There's quite a few people, and I apologize if I didn't get to your names. I would be here all for the rest of the show. But I want to thank Phantasmagoria. Thank you, Lady Cimarron. Did I get that right, Cimarron? Cimarron, yeah. Cimarine.
Right.
Thank you so much. That was absolute. Thank you very much. And we have the most gentleman, the lovely Hawthorne, the lovely Lord Byron. And just joining them, and I'm just going to increase the screen so everybody can see the cast down there. Let me take that comment off real fast. We have joining us now for the very first time, the lovely Mercury. How you doing, Mercury? This is the first time we've seen you. Thank you for joining us there. Mercury, tell us a little bit about yourself to the audience. We hadn't seen you the last 2 times we were on here.
Yes, this is my first time. Thank you for having me. I am, as Byron would say, very mercurial, and I like to keep it that way, a little mystery.
Okay.
But I will say, in our Phantasmagoria family, we span on many different sides of light and dark. And the interesting thing about me is I'm right in the middle. So sometimes I can be compassionate, and other times I will relish in you being ripped to shreds.
Yes.
Depends on my mood of the day.
Yes, which she does quite often. Yes. Yes.
Oh,
Yes. Mercury has been with us since time immemorial. And on the mortal coil, you've been with us like over 10 years, I think now, right? 8, 9, 10.
Wow.
8.
Yeah, 8 years. 8 years. There we go.
Well, they were going to give you the boost on the seniority, but anyway, that was about it. So thank you so much for joining us. No, nothing personal, Lady Mercury. I've dated worse, but anyway, let me introduce you to our guest for tonight, who is watching with me, Santa Freedom himself, Dr. Freedom. You know him as Brian Barres on the YouTube channel. How you doing there, Santa?
I was about to say I've been married to far worse, so I can relate.
Oh my God, why? What did you think of tonight's
I've been down that road.
What did you think of tonight's performance there?
Oh, I was sitting here just, watching and having a good old time myself. It was very entertaining. Sometimes it's nice just to sit back and, listen to a well-performed tale. It doesn't have to be spectacular. It doesn't have to have, Michael Bay special effects. Sometimes the imagination and the way the story is told is the best part.
Well, I would think Lady C had some really good special effects with the fire.
Yeah.
And then
that part.
Yes.
I've been asking Byron to up our special effects budget, but he's a cheapskate.
Yeah.
Well, she was affecting time. It seemed like all the traffic was slowing down.
I noticed that. I wonder if anybody noticed that behind the scene there was this motor vehicle, as you would probably put it, Lord Byron, going behind the Lady C, and all of a sudden hit the brakes hard.
Sometimes they just have to stop. One night, the car stopped and they all got out. So yeah, no, we
charge them.
No, we should have. But so we do get passerbys when they know we're doing a show that come to watch us from outside. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, and Ramona says, "Nice seeing you again, Dr. Freedom." Yes, the fire is all the CGI. Yeah, I would have lit those things up, started twirling, threw them up in the air, and ran like hell. That would have been the end of the show right there. That would have been a completely new show.
Yes.
But the fire department would have been in on it there. So I'm going to put this banner up there. Lord Byron, hang on one second. Let me put this banner I created just for you. Boom. But I want you to... Oh, it just says Phantasmagoria and has your website, website and your Facebook page so that people know where to go. We've been posting it throughout the night, so people coming in and out of the chats were watching and had seen it somewhere. Lord Byron, tell us what is in the future for Phantasmagoria 2022.
Oh, wow. Well, we're not even done with 2021 yet. We have, we have 2 more shows of Christmas Carol, the tour we're doing, and it's almost sold out at the Athens Theater in Deland. So we have those the next 2 nights. Mm-hmm. We do those. And then we're doing a New Year's Eve performance here in Sanford. Some stilt walking, some fire, some sword swallowing, some belly dancing. It is our dear Seraphina's last show with us. She performs with us on the 31st. She comes to a party on the 2nd, and she flies out on the 3rd. Literally, and this is someone who's been with Phantasmagoria since day 1, 13 years ago. So it'll be hard to see her go. Coming into the new year, we have our fall tour already planned, starting at the Dr. Phillips Center again. We have our Christmas tour already planned. We're working on a Valentine's Day mini tour that's going to open up in the month of February. We have a number of appearances already in the works for January, including January 9th, the 100th anniversary of the Athens Theater up in Deland. So we'll be there with them. And of course, as I mentioned during the show, an online performance on January 16th at it was 8:00 p.m. EST for George Perez, because George is very close to us, and as I mentioned, we met him years before Altezza was a member of the troupe, and it's just kind of wonderful to be able to spend some time with him after his recent announcements.
I know, and it's hard to accept there. I actually found out, I don't know if you folks had a chance to go to a location called Hallsmat, or most people know it as Holiday Matsuri.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine, Leo, he runs the, he does all the pictures for all the cosplayers and all that. And he goes, "Did you see him?" And I said, what do you mean? He goes, he was here. And I was like, oh, are you kidding me? Because Halsmat is huge. If anybody has ever been to Holiday Matsuri, it's completely huge. You could spend all 3 days at this location and never get to see everything. It's just almost impossible there. But yeah, we did find out about the announcement of George, and we wish him the very best. We wish him well there. And I want you to say it again, just in case people may have not heard it or may have missed it. Lord Byron, you said about what's taking place in January for George. Where could people locate and find out when that's taking place?
It will be one of our Facebook Live performances that we're doing in his honor, and also so people can send messages to George. I think we did one 2 years ago for his birthday as well. So we're doing this one for him to let him know how much people appreciate him. It'll be January 16th, and it will be on the Phantasmagoria Facebook page. So you can go to our page right there, which is scrolling, and we'll be posting all over about it. And it will be 8 p.m. that evening. We will be here, of course. Altezza will be here to do some dancing, and we'll have an assorted members of Phantasmagoria, anybody who wants to come by that night, to be there to celebrate the incredible life and work of George Perez.
Okay. And we have a few comments and questions. And if anybody would like to chat with Phantasmagoria, now's the time as we wrap up this Christmas special. And it was really special. And Lady C, thank you so much. That was gorgeous performance. And everybody in the chats was just going wild, including the van driver behind you. So we have on our YouTube channel, Matt P said, saw you for the very first time in Sanford last week. So much fun. I love good storytelling. This has been great. So appreciate it there. And everybody was just typing in brava, brava, brava. I mean, over and over again while you guys were performing. I couldn't even keep up. Lord Byron, this comes from Mark Robinson. Lord Byron, are you British? You said a phrase that was quite British rather than American, that it was rather soggy out there. That's such a British thing.
It is very British.
Yes.
I'm officially British by way of Brooklyn, Baker Heights in New York. Yes. So a lot of our Brits are from there, actually. And so back in the 1700s, I spent a good deal of time in Baker Heights. So yes, but yes, the phrase "soggy" is actually a favorite one of mine. Thank you for noticing that.
Oh my God. Huntsing says, I love you all so much there. Percy says, soggy or moist. No. You are not going. No, I'm putting that down. That's not going to happen out there. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching us, please help us help all the indie creators out here, including Phantasmagoria. Please go ahead and like their Facebook page at facebook.com Phantasmagoria. It's spelled out for you. For those of you who are listening to the audio, I will do my best.
Yeah. Phantasmagoria Orlando. Make sure you do that. You just do, because there's a number of Phantasmagorias, including like a strip show in Chicago. Which we are not. Yeah, which we are not. Although Hawthorne does, when he gets drunk, things happen.
We're also last year.
We're also not the 90s adventure game.
No.
Yes. Those are the real ones out there.
Yes.
Andrew Morris says, no more soggy bottom, please. And Tom has a bad habit of taking words that are out of context for this show and making them the hashtag. So moist just became the hashtag for this episode. That's the way it should be this Christmas season there. And I just want, I'll give everybody the floor there. But Mercury, since you are the new hire that we've seen here at the Legend of the Traveling Tardis, what are you going to be doing this holiday season? How will you be celebrating?
Very simple. In my
Ramona said cake. I'm sorry. She just jumped in and put cake.
In my other life, I am a high school theater teacher.
Oh, okay.
So I cherish my holiday days off and try to do as little as possible. Bravo. But this will be the first year that my family, aka my parents, and my husband's parents will be all coming together for Christmas. They've lived in Nevada, and now they live in Florida. So this is very exciting and a little scary.
We're not trying to follow them, but where do they move in Florida? Just out of curiosity.
What was that?
Where did they move in Florida? What part of Florida did they hit?
In the Four Corners area.
Oh, okay. Lord Hawthorne. Is it Lord or is it just
Lord
Hawthorne?
now. I've been knighted by
I got you that plot of land in Scotland. So now,
I like this. I can get used to this, and I'll go on, my good friend.
You got it. I will say for this just a moment, Lord Hawthorne, what are you planning? What are your plans for Christmas?
As Mercury said, very simple. Just spend time with my family. I've always been the sort to just sort of enjoy a lot of personal. I play a lot of video games, Christian. That's what I'm trying to say. I enjoy my time. I'm
not judging here.
I hang out. I play video games, as the kids call them. So that's that's basically what it is. But yes, but also in all seriousness, I'm very much looking forward to spending time with my parents and my partner and just kind of enjoying the day. Very simple stuff. Don't like to travel on the holidays. In a past life, I may or may not have been a theme park employee, so I try to stay away from all the theme parks this time of year. Yeah. And if you know what's good for you, you'll do the same. But yeah, other than that, just relax.
Andrew comes in and says, "Gothic video games, I hope."
Of course. Bloodborne, your Resident Evils, all the greats.
If I ever have free time, I think I want to go back to gaming again. But that's the question: if I ever have free time out there. And Andrew says, "Reminded me of those." There you go. Reminded me of those Christmas horror stories Sir Christopher Lee used to do on the BBC. Ultimate compliment, right there. I love that.
Yes. Yeah, these were actually the picks that we used were actually all written for the Christmas holiday in particular, which was, around the Victorian time, mid-1800s to the end of the 1800s. It was a fond tradition. M.R. James, a lot of writers, wrote specifically for the Christmas holidays. So yes, Christopher Lee did that. A number of people did. The BBC still shows a number of horror tales. I know Mark Gatiss is doing the Mezzotint, which we have done. And yes, and Mark Gatiss is doing M.R. James, the Mezzotint, this Christmas as a special right now. Yeah.
Gotcha. So, Brian Burress, Dr. Freedom, what are you going to be doing for Christmas?
Oh, just, pretty much the same thing. Gonna go spend some time with the family up and a ways from here. Because I don't get to see them that often, especially since I moved down here. So, usually Christmas is the time we get everybody together, have dinner, sit around, fall asleep watching football we don't care about.
That's Thanksgiving.
Getting back in contact with everybody.
Gotcha there. Tom, enough with the hashtags. No, I don't even Legend of the Flaming TARDIS. No, we're going to put that away. Thank you, Lady Simmering. That was a beautiful performance. I enjoy that. I love watching you over on the convention floor, but to see that in action, and I think it was just the cherry on the top to see somebody actually stop in their tracks and go, "What the hell did I was just watching?" and keep going. I appreciate that. That is a beautiful Christmas gift. Thank you so much. I love that out there. Andrew continues. Yes, Mark Gatiss is keeping the tradition going. Okay. I don't know what this is mean by Mark. Not Lord, but Jarl Hawthorne. Disappointed that you're drinking wine and mulled wine or honey mead. I don't know what that means.
Oh, I see. No. He's saying I should be drinking mulled wine or honey mead because that's more Christmassy, I assume.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Unfortunately, look, Byron did not. The coffers are empty.
I want you to hear the exact words out of my mouth. Hawthorne said, "I need wine. I need to get wine." And I said, "Oh, well, let's find a glass." And he's like, "Well, I need the wine." I'm like, "Find the cheap stuff."
So, I'm not picky. I'm not a
believe it or not, there is mead in that bar. We do have.
And you did not tell me.
And that's why we didn't tell you.
We do have mead, which is delicious, but sweet and so
it's a dessert drink.
It's a dessert drink. Probably not something we could do while reading stories.
It comes to throat.
Find out.
Yes, we could one day.
Now, Christian, I have to ask you something.
Yes,
I want all of your audience members to have paid attention because we did drop a number of little Doctor Who references in each of those letters that she wrote. So I hope that people are paying attention and maybe they can decipher which of the episode titles were being name checked in some of those letters.
Ramona
I mean,
says
listen, I'm not going to try to.
I'll tell you what. Everybody in the chat right now, if you had caught on for the better term, the Easter eggs that have been laid inside of each one of these.
Each of the letters contains one episode title, so that's you get to now go back and listen again. So I'm giving you extra views, Christian. You're welcome.
Thank you. Ramona says Klingon blood wine. Wrong, geekdom. Okay, we're fine with that out there. Mark says Tooth and Claw. Was there?
Yes. Yep.
There we go. I've got Andrew and Sophie both saying Flux.
Yes.
Okay. And we're waiting for more chats to come in, but that's some of the responses that came in there. So let me go out there. Okay.
We have to always provide for the fans when we come to your program.
No worries, and quite a success this year, and especially when Lord Byron told me about the story that would be taking place at the end for the current position of the Doctor. That was just a lovely story right there. I like that out there. And speaking of lovely stories, everybody, Percy, what was it? Klingon Bloodmead? Okay, never mind. There, Klingon.
Hello, Percy. We love you.
Phantasmagoria.orlando.com and facebook.com/Phantasmagoria Orlando. If you just happen to be listening to the audio, PHANTASMAGORIA, because we love you, Orlando. So facebook.com Phantasmagoria Orlando, and we provided all the links into the chat. We'll be also later on, as we get closer to Christmas, we'll be promoting all their links as well, and give everybody a big thank you there. I don't know, I had a long day. I'm sure you guys had too. So are there any final thoughts or anything you'd like to address to our audience before we wrap it up for tonight? Oh, well, there we go. Andrew put it out there. Thank you, Andrew. There you go. Now he's put it in the chats too. So
I think Hawthorne was a wonderful scribe who wrote those wonderful letters from the Doctor.
The Doctor didn't write those letters.
Said something absolutely wonderful. It's been a hard year.
Yes.
Been a hard 2 years, and we're all making it through. So I think the thing to take away is just the beautiful hope of the holiday. I know a lot of people do not feel very much Christmassy or New Year's-y or Hanukkah-y or any of the wonderful holidays. We have so many holidays at this time of year, and I know a lot of people are not feeling that. But do your best to just be and take a breath for yourself. Maybe that's the most important holiday of all at the end of 2021. A breath for yourself. And I think that's probably the most important message we could ever send out to all of your viewers.
And Mark Robinson, I actually got married in Lord Byron House, Newstead Abbey. Okay, I'm divorced now, but Lord Byron should visit Lord Byron House in Nottinghamshire. There you go.
Beautiful.
And I actually, Lord Byron, it's funny as you said that, because I was talking to a couple of friends of mine, and I said, you know what, this is actually the first year it doesn't even feel like Christmas. I listen to the Christmas music, it doesn't click. I go to the stores and they already have Valentine's for 2024 out in the stores. So they didn't even wait for the, what they call it, for the body to decompose. It was we're done here.
Body's not home yet.
Right. It's just like we haven't even gotten to Christmas and you've already got next year's stuff coming out over there, but they've got to make their money out there. Hashtag spoilers. Keith Covington, you guys were good. Thank you. And Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. And Brian, do you have any final words before we wrap up this episode for all the fans out there?
Santa, would you please find some way to make COVID go away? We're tired of it already. I gotta say that.
No, that's fine. That's something to wish for out there. Yes, Tom. 2024. They don't wait, especially certain convenience stores out there. Actually, to tell you the truth, I would have paid money to see Hawthorne at a certain convenience store by the Slurpee machine, getting the boxed beverage out of a purchase. I would have paid so much money to see that in action out there.
I mean, there's still time.
Hey, listen, the night is young, Christian.
So I'm going to wrap this up by Brian. Merry Christmas to you, Brian. Merry Christmas to everybody in Phantasmagoria. Thank you so much. Everybody in the chats and everybody who supported us since day one. Please have a wonderful holiday season. Whatever you love, whatever you do, whatever you believe in, it doesn't matter, because what's true is the family and the love that you bring. That's important for all of us. Just remember everything that is important to you. I think that's also should be the focus. Remember what you have in life. Be appreciative about that, and just focus on that. And hopefully next year, when Phantasmagoria comes back for 2022,
was that
we're running out of content for Christmas episode.
That was subliminal advertisement. That is so subliminal. So yes, we're gonna go ahead and say goodbye. So Sophie, good night. And Sophie, you guys, I think Sophie, if I'm not mistaken, Sophie is in New Zealand or in the other side of the planet. She's up at 3 a.m. watching this stuff. She's up late there. Mark's in the UK, and I know that it's got to be going on 1 o'clock out there.
Yeah.
And our friends Andrew and Mark they're in the Merry Christmas from the UK. Oh, Sophie, you're in the UK as well. I thought you were further out there, but these guys have been looking at 1 or 2 in the morning right now, and I'm just like, thank you all for joining us. You know what? I'm gonna Qapla'. More Klingon.
Oh, he's trying to say Qapla'.
Qapla'. And Mark, 1:30 in the morning there. Phantasmagoria, I'm going to give you the last word to our audience. Let me go ahead and bring it up over here. You can each individually say your holiday wishes to our audience, but everybody, thank you so much. Have a great night. Phantasmagoria, take us out.
Thank you.
Well, Universe, Legend of the Traveling Tardis, and all Doctor Who's Whovians, as we call ourselves, I hope you have a wonderful Christmas, a wonderful holiday season, and spend some amazing time with your family, and please be safe.
Happy Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, winter, Yule, solstice tide, everyone.
Hit them all.
Everyone have a beautiful holiday. Whatever you celebrate, however you celebrate, be safe, be smart, and enjoy.
And I will wrap it up the way we always do. It's a phrase that we've been using for about 7 years now. And it means all those who have come before, all those that are here now, and all those that you have yet to meet and bring into your lives. Good night, dear friends. For us, time is always. Till next year.